Hello, everyone. My name is Ruth Ann Cheney, and I'm going to be presenting my honors research on making construction sustainable. So to begin, I just wanted to go over a few statistics that were pretty staggering. First is that construction activities account for 23% of air pollution, 40% of drinking water pollution, 50% of landfill waste, and 39% of global greenhouse emissions. Along with this, buildings, just buildings, not even construction activities in America account for 30% of all greenhouse gas emissions from the United States. These are obviously very insane statistics, and something needs to be done about this. So what can be done about this? Well, green building is the future of construction. Green building has a goal of reducing a building's energy consumption, sustainable materials and methods, and creating buildings that can actually create energy rather than use it. Green building materials are composed of renewable rather than non-renewable resources, and green materials are environmentally responsible because their impacts are considered over the lifetime of the product or the use rather than just the short-term cost or goal. So going back to some advantages and why you should care. Well, green buildings can actually improve the quality of life. When we use eco-friendly materials, such as natural lighting, plants, things like that, it can actually improve your mental state of being. This also enhances our health. A lot of the materials that we use throughout construction and the emissions that we use during construction are actually very toxic to human health and our lifestyles. Along with this, many people believe that green building might seem unfavorable, difficult, or expensive, but there's many benefits such as reduced operational and maintenance costs. Although you may be paying a little bit more upfront for certain materials, over the lifetime of the material, it'll be a lot cheaper than using a cheaper non-green material. And finally, it saves the planet, which is where we live, is what we need to survive, and that is the most important thing that should be happening in our lives. So some people believe that these methods are hard and unattainable. However, Norway is a prime example of how small changes can create a large impact. They actually have a goal to create a zero emission construction industry, which seems pretty crazy after looking at those statistics earlier. They're actually going to have these carbon emission free construction sites 5 years earlier than they plan to do. So how exactly did they do this? Well, the first thing that they've done is carbon capture and storage. So steel and concrete production create an abnormal amount of carbon dioxide and carbon-based emissions that are let out into the atmosphere. And the Norwegian government has launched a full-scale carbon capture storage project called Longship to do something about this. Longship has three main sectors, two for carbon capture and one for the transport and storage of carbon. A carbon capture plant is set to be built at a cement factory that will have the power to capture 400,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide each year. This is equivalent to taking 200,000 cars off the road each year. When looking at this seems pretty crazy that it's only one plant. Imagine if that we could create these plants all across the world and we'd be saving hundreds of thousands, if not millions and billions of carbon dioxide that are released to the atmosphere. Another way that they're doing this is by changing the equipment that they're using. Construction sites are a primary source of CO2 emissions. Because of this, the city of Oslo in Norway has required that machinery used cannot have fossil fuels to power them anymore. This means that using gas, oil, anything like that is not allowed. This has caused a huge uptick in innovation within the construction equipment industry to create electrically powered construction machines. Like I said earlier, the goal was to have all construction sites be carbon free in 2030, but this is actually set to do in just 3 years in 2025, which is pretty crazy. The next way they're doing this is by building energy efficient buildings. So these can be broken into two categories as seen on the screen. Zero energy buildings with no net consumption of renewables, or energy positive buildings that pump reusable energy back into the grid of the city. An example of this that has already been done in Oslo is the new National Museum of Oslo, seen on the left. And this is actually a zero energy building and it's heated by water. The last way that they're switching to a more sustainable construction lifestyle is by using new construction materials. The main focus of this has been to replace steel, which has a very high CO2 producer through procurement and manufacturing, with massive timber pieces. In fact, the country actually holds the record for having the largest sized timber building in the world. It is an 18-story high building and is built at the rate of 1 story per week with prefabricated timber pieces. The timber is glue laminated and has comparable flexibility, durability, and strength to regular steel. The North Pier at the Oslo Airport is also built using wood roofing and recycled materials. The insulation is climate friendly and the cement used was made of reused waste. So this is obviously an amazing real life examples of how we can actually switch to more sustainable materials while still getting the same benefits that we get from steel, concrete, and those types of things. So then I just wanted to go over some more of my research that I've done about other material options, and I've picked the 3 best that I see in our future. So the first material I wanted to go over was asphalt. Although asphalt is already highly used in America, I don't believe that the benefits of using this material are seen by just everyone. So asphalt is a completely reusable material. Almost 80 million tons of reclaimed asphalt pavement is used in new roads and parking lots. Warm mixed asphalt cuts the need for much fuel to be used during the laying process and reduces greenhouse gases. Asphalt can be engineered to be used for different types of vehicles and climates. It can be quickly placed, which helps reduce the congestion and construction costs along with the emissions that are coming from construction. The ease of this construction of asphalt also decreases the amount of fuel when idling in a construction zone. Asphalt can be built and repaired 3.5 times faster than other materials such as concrete. Teams of engineers can design pavements to create better products. Open graded friction courses, a type of asphalt mix, can help make even wet weather driving much safer. New asphalt pavement surfaces last 18 years before needing maintenance. Structures of asphalt roads can be made and be used for a lifetime. So how exactly does this benefit us? Well, reusing asphalt can save taxpayers $2 million, and the smoothness of the material creates lower maintenance costs for cars and lower gas costs. Using warm mix asphalt will save the US billions of dollars in energy costs and can save the Americans 7 billion gallons of fuel annually by driving on smooth asphalt. Full depth porous asphalt, another type of mix, has been proven to capture and filter over 90% of roadway pollutants. A few other statistics are that also it allows road owners to save almost $1,300 every year and also employs 400,000 workers in the industry. The next product I wanted to talk about is insulation. So insulation is meant to reduce energy costs and consumption for building and homeowners. This could typically be labeled as an eco-friendly product. However, the manufacturing process and materials themselves are actually extremely toxic. Fiberglass insulation, which is the most widely used form, may be the most economical answer for insulation right now, but has many adverse effects environmentally and on human health. The process in making this insulation is extremely energy intensive, up to 10 times more than the eco-friendly competitors. Many of the fibers within the insulation are hazardous to human health. While it contains up to 30% of recycled glass, other options have up to 80% recycled materials and are way less hazardous to human health. Some sustainable insulation options include sheep's wool, aerogel, denim, thermocork, cellulose, and iocene. So going a little bit more in depth on these materials, sheep's wool is fire resistant and water resistant. The compressed wool creates air pockets that absorb hot or cool air and can absorb moisture without feeling damp or affecting the temperature. This wool has many amazing properties that we look for in insulation naturally. Sheep's wool will allow the resident to not be constantly changing the temperature as well because it naturally controls the environment. Aerogel is a material that consists up to 90% of air. It is a lightweight and cheap material used for insulation. Denim can be rolled into bats like fiberglass, but without the dangerous chemicals that are found in fiberglass. Using recycled denim saves much material from going into the landfill, but is a bit more expensive, unfortunately. Thermocork is made from outer bark of oak trees and is natural, renewable, recyclable, and biodegradable. This material is so environmentally friendly, it actually creates a negative carbon footprint. This material also works to reduce sound as well. Cellulose is created from recycled paper that would otherwise end up in landfills. When paper is put into landfills, it emits a terrible greenhouse gas. Using cellulose could save up to 8 million tons of CO2 emissions. Icynene is made from castor oil and can expand up to 100 times its size. This material helps with leaks, noise, and drafts. This material can save up to 30 to 50% on each bill. Finally, precast panels and 3D printing. Precast panel concrete slabs take up way less energy to produce and assemble and avoid structural faults and cracks because they're not being produced on site and affected by the weather. Along with this, you save energy because you're using less construction equipment to place these panels. And 3D printing is very similar because you can 3D print walls, roofs, anything like that now. The system requires that the panel be manufactured in a warehouse offsite and shipped to the site, which also saves a lot of energy and costs. Just some more basic options that you can do in your everyday life is increasing natural light with windows. This saves less money and less emissions when using energy and lights. Motion sensor lights so that they turn off when you're not in the room. Bamboo flooring and cabinetry. Bamboo actually can grow 3 feet within 24 hours. So it's a super self-regrowing and sustainable product and very, very strong. Reclaiming materials and upcycling. This is a great way to reduce our waste in landfills. And again, solar panels is just always a great option. If you can add it to your house, this can give back to the grid of the city. And then green roofs, which are actually roofs that store plants and minerals on top of it. So it actually gives back to the environment. And finally, here's some of my references, and I just want to thank you all for watching my video.